Strap in, kid.
Hello and welcome to the Very Bad Batch Explosion Network's after show, breaking down, discussing and reviewing each and every episode of the Disney Plus original Star Wars series, Star Wars: The Bad Batch. My name's Don Blight and joining me, Ashton Hopley.
Hey John, excited to be here. Talking about clones.
Talking about clones, that's right. Back for season 2, The Bad Batch. It opened with a 2-part season opener titled Spoils of War and Ruins of War. The synopsis of the first episode was the Bad Batch plans a risky heist, and episode 2, the Ruins of War synopsis was the Batch must decide who to trust as they plan their escape. They're both sort of terrible synopsises, as per usual. The plot of these 2 episodes more or less boils down to fights crabs, gets job, Dooku's old place, let's go steal from it, are we as bad as the Empire, maybe yes, no, alright, credits. Does that feel like a good
Yeah.
summary? Yeah. So what is your thoughts on the 2-part opener?
It's fine. It's interesting because I've listened back to our season finale discussion of season 1, and we were like kind of, mixed on it because it didn't feel like a season finale. This doesn't really feel like a season premiere. Sure, it's a double episode, but there's not a lot there to like. There's not a lot of propelling the story forward. There's
It's like episode 3 and 4.
This feels like it could have easily been episode 13 of season 1.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like, whatever the planet got bombarded. They all left Crosshair, and now they're still doing jobs.
Yeah.
The fun crab sequence was really well put together. Omega looks like she's been obviously given more of an opportunity to like do stuff. Her bow thing, utilizing a bit more than I think we saw in the first season. I think the concept of them looting Count Dooku's castle is a cool one. But it just ends up being a heist that goes wrong and them trying to survive.
I was, as simple as it is, I was disappointed. I was very disappointed with this season premiere. And I sort of want to give this show, I don't know if it's bad to say, I don't want to give it any more sort of free run just because it's like, I could be like, yeah, it was animated well, it looks good. And especially like when it was starting, I was like watching that sequence of running on the beach and I'm like, oh, it's very pretty. And, I'm sort of like, okay, cool. Yes. But am I engaged in the story? Not really. The only, it just seems like such a, especially, and there is definitely an element of, I'm coming into this, it's season 2 premiere, I'm expecting a bit more. But, screw me for expecting a bit more from a season premiere. This feels like if this had taken place next week, after like a cooler premiere, whatever. That's fine. I expect that. I expect the the episode 3, 4, episode 2, 3, whatever.
The mission of the week kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah. I need season opener to set up where the season's going. Like, I need some idea.
Yeah, the premiere was obviously we were with Order 66. And like the Bad Batch kind of rebelling against that.
Yeah.
That's cool. There's a clear direction.
Yeah.
It's like, they're still doing random jobs.
And I want to say there's no story here. The story here is that Omega is
learning about the bigger picture.
She's thinking about the bigger picture. Well, the couple things going on throughout these 2 episodes, and people may argue who really like these 2 episodes, maybe like, there was plenty happening here, you just didn't notice it. I didn't not notice it. I just don't feel like it was just your typical in the background character moments for this show. And I expect in a season premiere more straight forefront in front of me storytelling. I don't want this backseat stuff like that. That's what I expect week to week. This isn't what I want in the season premiere. You have stuff like the dilemma between different characters of the clones. It's very obvious that some of them side on the fact of we should be doing more. We should join and be part of the rebellion. And then you got the other ones. What's the main one's name? Bloody hell, I can't remember.
Hunter.
Hunter's like, no, we should stay in hiding. We've got to protect Omega, and then Omega overhears all this stuff, and then she has this whole thing where she thinks she's now a burden. But then, yeah, you've got the whole we should be doing more for the rebellion. Like, so I can tell, like, this is a setup, this is a through line for the rest of the season, like, what they should be actually doing. Should they be fighting for the rebellion, all this sort of stuff? But the thing is, I know they don't. Unless they're going to do some major weird retconning and stuff like that.
You don't know. They could end up working for somebody.
By the time you get to Rebels, where Rex shows up, Rex is like, I'm working for the rebellion. I know 2 clones who are alive. Here they are. These are the ones. Come join the rebellion. Come meet Kanan and fucking...
Maybe they faked their deaths. You know?
Sure.
Maybe he thought they died on Camino.
Possibly. I feel like... And it's... The most interesting thing in these 2 episodes is just Omega. Omega continues just to be the most interesting character in the show because she is original. Because she's not like anyone else. Because she actually has... you don't know what's going to happen to her. And not in a, she's probably just going to either die or go into hiding sort of thing. Like, there's many directions that character could head in. There's she falls into a weird territory of, it doesn't really matter if, like, she's not, I don't expect her to become a big part of the rebellion. I just, like, that's not where I feel like her character goes. I just feel like her character could have, like, a really interesting story nonetheless. Like, she's, got this really interesting tying into the Camino and Boba Fett and all these other sort of things. So that's all really
I'll tell you
interesting.
what, since the last season, I don't think they need to go visit Boba Fett.
Probably not, no. Yeah. I mean... yeah, probably
Was
not.
this before Boba Fett or after I can't remember.
The first season was before the Book of Boba Fett.
Okay.
And that's why I think after, it's
we were all
theorizing
excited and theorizing. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I was theorizing that she would show up in the Book of Boba Fett, like as a older character or something like that.
Like, yeah, you can keep them away from each other.
Keep that, yeah. Because these 2 episodes, as much as we're complaining about them, still better than 80% of the Book of Boba Fett. So, yeah, I mean, they were. It's a fun 2 episodes. Is it a good premiere? No, I don't really think so. That's my major complaint. Like, how cool was that sequence where she's hanging onto the grapple hook, shooting the crabs? Really cool. How, like, the whole part where they're, like, flying down in that cargo thing and, like, crash landing and whatever else. Like, that's all cool, but it's not... premiere cool.
I guess it depends on who do you think this target audience is?
Well, this is the thing. I don't take this bullshit anymore because this isn't a show that's airing at 7 o'clock on the Cartoon Network anymore, like the Clone Wars was back in the day. You know?
You say that, but, you know, there's a lot of stuff on streaming services that clearly is dedicated, focused at a certain audience.
I think it's targeted at not kids, older kids, I guess. Whatever. YA audience? Yeah? That age group, if you're looking at putting it as a book. But I also just feel like the structure of the show just turns me off a bit, so.
I will say, the episodes went by very quickly.
Yeah, well, they're like 20 minutes, so.
No, but even that, I was like, what? It felt like I blinked and it was over.
Yeah. Don't know. It's just sort of annoying. A lot of cliffhanger stuff from the season finale too, like not touched on at all, even across the 2 episodes. Sort of annoying. And the only like sort of thing that happens at the end is old mate, the bad guy, shooting the one clone trooper. Get this whole moral dilemma. Like there is an interesting moral dilemma about like, oh, we're gonna steal from Dooku, but then are as bad as the Empire, who are also stealing from Dooku to fund their war regime.
Stole from
we're
the
just
people
funding
of his
ourselves.
planet,
We're stealing from the planet. We're stealing from the people who actually. Yeah, like there's that. They have that. They bring that up very quickly, and then they're like, yeah, fucking forget about it though. Like we won't actually answer that potentially interesting hypothetical because this is for kids. But that's fine. Yeah, it was acceptable television. It was just not a super engaging premiere. If I get this quality of episode next week, I'm probably going to be less likely to be annoyed by it because it's just the weekly show.
Oh, that's another episode, yeah.
But if next week's is a lot more story driven than this, I'll be like, what the fuck wasn't this backwards? Like, what the? That'd be a whole thing anyway.
Yeah.
Any closing comments?
I will say it's interesting. Obviously, it's Rampart. I think the human officer or whatever who kills him. It's like, oh, it's interesting that he like killed somebody to cover up paperwork that he fucked up. Like, and obviously we've just come off Andor, and that's a show that starts really the events of that show happen because somebody doesn't do falsifies paperwork to cover up a fuck up. Yeah.
Maybe that's also hurting this show. I'm coming off an Andor watching this.
You come off the high of the best piece of Star Wars content on Disney Plus.
This, which is fine. Cool. Thank you for joining us on this episode of The Very Bad Batch. Please subscribe. Of course, this podcast feed for Holocron Entries for all our other Star Wars content, including you can go back and listen to us discuss Andor and every week be shocked and continue to be like, wow, this show's really good. This show's really good. Wow, this show's really good. Anyway, I'm on here being like, this episode was meh. Follow us on Twitter by heading to explosionnetwork.com/Twitter. Join our Discord, explosionnetwork.com/Discord. And if you like this episode and want to tell us, head on over to explosionnetwork.com/support to donate as little as $1. Help out the show. Keep the lights on. Keep the lightsabers swinging. Until next week.
Dylan, you know what they say? Count Dooku's war chest brings all the clones to the yard. And they're like, it's very shiny.